happened when you decided not to be the bigger person? I used to pride myself on being the kind of nurse who put her patient's well-being above her own. Every morning I'd arrive at 5 a.m., 2 hours before my shift, just to sit with Mr. Garner, who got anxious before sunrise. When Mrs. Ajoli was dying and her family couldn't afford to fly in from Mexico, I used my vacation fund to buy their tickets. During my lunch breaks, I'd teach the newer nurses how to braid hair for our female patients because looking dignified mattered even in the end. My supervisor Meredith always took advantage of that dedication. She'd assign me the toughest cases because she knew I wouldn't complain. When families wrote those glowing reviews about the compassionate nurse, Meredith filed them under her own achievements. She started presenting my pain management protocols as her own innovations at board meetings. I worked unpaid overtime constantly while she marked it as voluntary on the timesheets. Things changed when my daughter Kaylee got diagnosed with leukemia. She was only 12 and suddenly needed chemo 3 times a week. I asked Meredith for an adjusted schedule and she made this big show of sighing and talking about budget constraints before reluctantly agreeing. She gave my easier assignments to other nurses and stuck me with only the terminal cases. The harassment started right away too. During Kaylee's very first chemo session, Meredith called me 7 times about urgent matters that turned out to be routine paperwork. She started scheduling emergency meetings that forced me to leave treatments early. One time she changed my entire weekly schedule on Sunday night, completely disrupting the treatment times we'd carefully planned around. She even started texting me photos of messy supply closets during Kaylee's spinal taps, demanding immediate reorganization. I made it work though. I compressed 16-hour shifts around Kaylee's needs and basically lived on caffeine pills. I'd hold Kaylee's hand during chemo while fielding Meredith's calls about which printer paper to order. The worst part was watching Kaylee try to be brave about it. She'd squeeze my hand when the nausea hit and whisper, "It's okay, Mom, take your call." Whenever Meredith's ringtone played, Kaylee would look up at me with those tired eyes and say, "You never leave me, Mom, even when you're so tired," and it broke my heart every single time. The real betrayal came 6 months later at an all-staff meeting. Meredith stood up in front of everyone and started crying. She announced that her son had been battling cancer and she'd been keeping it private. Through dramatic tears, she revealed he was finally in remission. The entire room erupted in applause. People rushed to hug her. Management immediately offered her paid leave and bonuses for being so strong through this difficult time. I sat there completely frozen because I knew for a fact that Meredith's only child was a perfectly healthy 18-year-old freshman at State College. I'd seen him helping her move furniture 2 weeks earlier. The next few weeks were torture. Meredith received flowers and cards daily. The company newsletter ran a feature about her inspiring journey through her child's cancer battle. She won the quarterly Courage Award with a $5,000 bonus. Meanwhile, I had to contribute $20 to her celebration fund while still paying off Kaylee's actual medical bills. My credit cards were maxed and I was selling furniture on Craigslist to cover copays. People constantly praised Meredith for working through such hardship. She'd dab at her eyes and talk about how difficult it was, but how her dedication to patients kept her going. And during lunch, she'd show people fake prayer cards she'd had printed with her son's picture. I wanted to scream. Kaylee finally went into remission 8 months after diagnosis. I sobbed with relief in the hospital bathroom before pulling myself together to finish my shift. All I wanted was to take her somewhere special to celebrate. Nothing fancy, just a week at the beach to feel normal again. Maybe build sandcastles and eat ice cream for breakfast. I submitted my first real time off request in 3 years, but Meredith denied it immediately. She pulled me aside and explained she was using that exact week for her son's recovery trip to Europe. The company was paying for it as part of her support package. She patted my shoulder and said she was sure I understood since I'd been through the same thing. Then she asked if I could cover her shifts while she was gone. That night, Kaylee asked me why other families got to celebrate when their kids got better, but we couldn't. She'd seen her roommate at the hospital get a Disney trip after remission. I couldn't give her an answer that wouldn't break both our hearts. I spent the next few days in a weird haze. I didn't know what to do until I saw Meredith's son posting spring break pics from Cancun during his supposed chemo. I screenshotted everything in 10 minutes. His beer pong tournaments, party pics, all dated during his fictional cancer battle. Found 3 ex-employees on LinkedIn who'd left after similar situations with Meredith. Saved every email where she'd harassed me during Kaylee's treatments. I was done being a doormat. Full story on channel linked below.